So I made a turn signal jacket for like bikers to use when they're biking, so then they can click a button in the arm of their sleeve and then it'll turn on that turn signal to let cars know where people go, where they're going. So pretty much all I used was the Arduino, a battery pack, I think there's 16 LEDs and 2 switches in the arms. So the background, the Arduino, it can be programmed to do almost anything, and it's very simple to program it using the Arduino IDE. So I'm going to go with the methods. So it had to be wired first, which was definitely the most complicated part, because only 2 LEDs in a series could be wired back to the same pin. So 8 pins were used for the LEDs, and then 2 more pins for the little buttons. So there's 10 pins used in total. So that was a little complicated getting all the wires in here. There's just so many, and then each of the 2 LEDs also had to go to a ground. So there's many wires in here. I can actually show you from the front. It's just all these wires, and I had to like connect them all together. So that was a little complicated. That was probably the hardest part of the whole thing, because the programming was very simple. All I had to do for the programming was just make a couple arrays, so each of the 2 arrows would be like wired together, or like put together in an array, so all the pins would light up at the same time instead of them each like 2 LEDs lighting up separately. So there's the arrays like right there, and then it was just a bunch of if statements for the buttons. So like if the button's pressed down, then this one will turn on. And if this button's pressed down, this one will turn on. If neither are pressed down, you know, they don't turn on at all, obviously. So like I said before, this jacket can be used for like showing people when you're turning, when you're biking, which would be probably very helpful, at least for me. I know I hate when I'm driving and I don't know where the biker's going, so I think that would be very helpful for drivers. In conclusion, this was very simple except the wiring piece. You would have to have some prior knowledge for wiring, but you wouldn't really have to have that much prior coding knowledge because it is very simple. You just make the lights turn on when the button's pressed. It was, I think, like 40 lines long, and I use a lot of spaces, so you could probably get it down to 35. And it's just a very simple process. I think anybody could do it. That's it. Yeah.
How do you wash it?
Just don't. Never wash it.
And don't sweat a lot, right?
Yeah.
There's materials around that. This is a prototype. You could develop.
Yeah, you could make it better by far.
There's materials that could be made washable.
Mm-hmm.
There were some products that you looked at, right? That, like the LED strips.
Mm-hmm.
They're more expensive.
Yeah.
That would be totally waterproof.
Yeah.
Same concept, just different equipment. So, what was your method for, like, how did you solve the wiring thing? Because that was, I kind of, you told me about that. How did you solve that problem? How did you figure it out?
Well, I had to get these little like red connector things. I think, what are they called? Like wire splicers. And so you put the 2 wires in and like clamp it down. So then, because the LEDs at first I was just trying to wrap like wire around them and tape them, and they weren't staying. So I had to get the little splice things, and so they're all clamped down with these red things. And then later I figured out that you could only do 2 LEDs together, because I would try to do 3 and then they wouldn't work at all. And then I would go back to 2 and they would light up. So then I figured that I would have to just wire 2 together. So then like these 2 right here, this goes to the pin and then this side goes to the ground. So they're just wired up that way. And so every like 2 LEDs, one goes to ground, one goes to the pin.
And you found a forum post, right? That explained that.
Yeah, that explained that you could only do 2.
Questions, folks?
Okay, very good.